Hey guys, welcome to the season finale, I think, of DFS Jags Fantasy Football Stream. My name is Riku Mukherjee. It is championship week, week 17. Hopefully, you guys don't play in any dumb leagues where you play next week. But if you do, we will not be doing a show next week because you should not be playing fantasy football in the last week of the season. It is week 17. I hope you guys made it to your championships so far. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Chris Caldwell. What's up, Chris?
Chilling, man. I'm doing a lot of research this week. Getting ready for my own fantasy football championships, and also just trying to give you guys a hand. It's that week to make that bread. So we do months and months of draft research and research during the season. It all comes down to one game. So let's get started.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of guys out there that like to make the championship and then do some behind the scenes handshake deals and stuff like that to split first and second place. Don't do that. Don't be a wuss. You rode your team to week 17 in the championship. Take home the ship and take home that money. We're going to be doing a little bit different of a show this week. We figured it wouldn't be a really good idea to do like a week 16 recap. That really is not going to do much for you guys out there. So we're just going to talk about some generic roster construction stuff here for week 17, what we think you should be doing. We'll talk about some pickups that we like. We'll talk about some decisions that we got to make on our own teams. We'll talk about some sit start stuff. And then, of course, if you are tuning in and if you have any questions, please leave them in the live chat. We'll be on for about an hour or so as we talk about week 17, and we'll answer all your questions. So just leading off, Chris, just tell me about your overall strategy this week. I know it's a tough week to really know what to do as far as like what to expect like from your opponent and stuff like that. I hope in most situations you're in a league where maybe you and the guy in the finals and then maybe the third place games are the only ones that are really like claiming waivers and stuff like that. So what's your overall strategy here, Chris?
Yeah. So like you said, I hope your leagues, when people are in the bottom bracket of the consolation bracket, unless there's something to play for in that bracket, it's kind of bad form. I think to claim players and stuff like that if you're playing games that don't have a meaning. Some of the bottom brackets, like the very last place person has to get a tattoo or apply for a job at McDonald's or something like that. So yeah, I get, you want to keep winning. So, but if you're out of it, do the best you can with, your own squad but don't pick up players. Leave that to the people, going for the championship. But anyway, yeah, I'm in 9 leagues this year, and I'm in the championship game in 3 of the leagues. I'm in a third place game in a fourth one. So pretty active this week, doing some research, figuring out who to pick up, who to start. But yeah, the strategy for me, and I want to hear yours too, is number one, first and foremost, get anyone off your roster that's not, that's on IR or, doubtful to play week 17. There's just no reason to have them unless, if you're in a dynasty league, sure. But if you're in a season long league, please drop everyone that's not playing in week 17. They are worthless to you now. And also have a maximum of 1 backup player at each position that's not currently in your starting roster. For example, if you want to have 1 backup quarterback, running back, and wide receiver that's not currently in your starting roster, just in case an injury happens or COVID, that's perfectly fine. But for the rest of your roster, there's no point having someone who, might do decent and get 10 points. Use those positions, use them as ammunition, use them as a weapon, block your opponent, look to see what they need, and pick up someone that could, alter their strategy or kind of get in their way. So are you with me on that, Rick? Play your opponent's hand just as strong as you're playing yours.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with all that. I My strategy, of course, for week 17 in the championship is number one, don't get cute with any decisions that you got to make. You rode your horses this long, as long as they're not banged up or going on COVID lists or anything like that, then play your studs. Don't think about matchups too much. If you have Dalvin Cook coming off the COVID list and you're worried about, how is he going to feel? Like, people don't usually play that well off COVID. You rode Dalvin Cook to this championship week. You're going to play Dalvin Cook this week. He's coming off the COVID list. Don't get cute about that. Don't bench him for somebody that you wouldn't be playing on like a normal week. So that's definitely, suggestion number one. And then, yeah, like you said, definitely have a couple backup options just in case if an injury pops up over the week. And then, of course, look at your opponent's team. I mean, if look at what he has going on. If you hear any news of like any of his players or her players like potentially getting hurt or potentially going on a COVID list, pay attention to those news updates like as much as possible. And then if they have somebody that's a starting running back and that backup running back is on the waiver wire, and you hear a rumor of that person possibly getting COVID, pick up that backup running back so that they can't grab them before you do, and then just sort of block them in that situation. And who knows, even that backup running back, if they're a starter, you may potentially have to use them if something happens to one of your guys. So definitely agree with all that.
The big example of that from last week, and it probably swayed a bunch of games, is Justin Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Because Austin Eckler had COVID last week. And even if you didn't plan to play Justin Jackson, like I don't think anyone thought he was going to go off for 30 points. But even if you weren't going to play him, if your opponent had Austin Eckler, then Justin Jackson needed to be on your roster, your number one waiver ad, for that sole reason. So that's kind of an example of what Rick's talking about, just kind of playing your opponent's hand just as strong as yours.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know. It's fun to make the championship. I just don't want you guys to stress too hard about it. I mean, it is a long season. I mean, in all honesty, Chris, I'm pretty tuckered out from this football season. It's been a real mental drain this whole year. I'm more of I mean, as you guys know out there, our audience, my passion is more golf than football. So I'm excited about golf season starting next week. But yeah, I mean, I'm in 8 leagues. I didn't make the playoffs in 3 of my leagues. And between the other 5 leagues, I'm in 4 championships and 1 third place game. It should have been 5 championships if I lost by 1.5 points. All I needed was the Steelers to score a meaningless touchdown at the end of that Steelers-Chiefs game. They were driving down. They got the ball down to like the 5-yard line and let the clock run out. And if they just score that touchdown or get in the end zone, then my opponent loses their Chiefs defense points, and I win and get into a 5th championship. But
you want to hear something funny? That's
Yeah.
the reason I won. That's the reason I got into a championship.
Oh, really?
Because the Steelers didn't score any more points and I had Chiefs defense.
Oh man, I was like sweating. I was like, come on, just get in. Like, this doesn't mean anything. Just score a touchdown. But unfortunately, I didn't make the championship that game. The funny thing is that in the other semifinal in that league, the guy had Dallas defense, and he ended up losing. It was on ESPN, and then he ended up losing the match. But for some reason, they had the Cowboys had a blocked punt recovered for a touchdown, which didn't count for 6 points like it usually does. For some reason, ESPN has this like weird like algorithm, I guess, like when it's not a return touchdown and a recovered touchdown, they don't add the points. And then like we were like, what the hell's going on? Like, why are the points not added? And they finally like corrected it and added the points like an hour after the Sunday night game ended. So vaulted them up to winning and getting into the final. So both semifinals in that league were very close. They came down to like 3 or 4 points total. And that's how it is now with the best teams making it to the semifinals and the finals. It's going to be a close match because you're the best teams, and you made it this far because of that. But yeah, I mean, that's my situation now. I got a few decisions to make this week. I don't really know which way I'm going. Well, let's get into that. What are some decisions that you got this week, Chris?
Let's see. So I wrote down a couple that I have.
Mhm.
All right. So my big money league. I'll tell the story later about the absolute sweat I had to get into this final. It has the Chiefs Steelers game was part one, and then there was a part two to the sweat. It was pretty amazing. I got to tell you about it.
All right.
Anyway, in that league, I have two decisions to make. Um, so my wide receiver one, Stephon Diggs, he's in. He has a great matchup against Atlanta. That's a no doubt about it. And then this is a half PPR league. My wide receiver two, I have a decision between Keenan Allen, who had a dud game last week, um, with Mike Williams out, right? So that was
Mhm.
pretty shocking that he had such a bad game against Houston. Um,
That whole game
and
was shocking in general.
I know that was like I was so surprised. Keenan only got me like 5 points with Mike Williams out. So it's Keenan Allen or Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett's at home against Detroit. So my thought process there is, is Keenan Allen bang?
Who do the Chargers play this week?
They're at Denver or
At
home
Denver.
against. They play Denver. I don't know if it's home or away, but
Okay.
Denver has very strong defense, especially in the secondary. Um, it's a really tough matchup for Keenan Allen. I mean, he's kind of like matchup proof, I think.
Yeah.
And he's been super solid. We were talking last week about, if you need 10 points with a gun to your head, you kind of go Keenan Allen before a lot of players. And Tyler Lockett's probably the last person you would pick, right?
Yeah.
Because he's either going to get you 4 or 27.
Yeah.
So I'm really, I don't know. I'm
All right.
leaning Keenan
I have
Allen
a
on this one.
I have a theory on this, and
Mhm.
hear me out for a second. Um, so the Seahawks are a mess. I think at the end of the season, either both Russ and Pete Carroll are gone, or one of the two are gone. My guess is probably Russ, and and if it is Russ, I think he has some motivation this week. To be completely honest with you, this is possibly his last game in a Seahawks uniform at home,
Mhm.
and going against a terrible Lions defense that I think he could easily light up. Um, I I like Lockett, to be completely honest with you. I prefer Lockett in the situation, but the like you said, Keenan's floor is a lot higher than Lockett's, but it's a tough decision. I don't think you're getting cute taking Tyler Lockett. I mean, the guy is still Tyler Lockett. He can go off for like 30 to 35 points. So um, I think Russ is going to ball out this week. I actually really like the Seahawks -7 in that game. Even though they lost outright to the Bears last week, I think that line is correct. Yeah, and the Lions play hard. Yes, they do. But yeah, I like the Seahawks in that game. I think they're going to light up the scoreboard in that game. I think it's going to be a pretty high scoring game. So I would go Lockett personally, but at the end of the day, it's your decision. I don't want to sway you each way, but that's my
Yeah,
decision.
so that's my follow-on question is in general, I don't know if you my general theory is in non-championship games, I like floors a lot. I think I'd rather have the safer play each week. And, maybe I might not have those ceiling games where I score, 180, 200 points, but I like players that are pretty much going to guarantee me a good floor. In a championship week, I'm thinking maybe I should be a little bit different and like kind of shoot for the moon and like go for someone that's like going to go off. Um, yeah, it kind of hurt me last week because I played Jalen Hurts because he's the epitome of a floor, right? All year long, with his rushing and his rushing touchdowns. I was like, I'm going to play Jalen Hurts because I know for sure there's no way he's not going to get me 20 points, 22 points, something like that.
Yeah.
And I had Joe Burrow on the bench who got 60 points in the league that I play in. And Jalen Hurts only got 25. So Hurts did exactly what I thought he was going to do and what I wanted, but I knew Burrow had the upside, right? Against Baltimore, they completely torn apart in the secondary, but I just thought there was a chance that it's a mixing game and they just ride Mixon. So I threw the upside away that I knew Burrow had, and I went for the sure 20, 25 points with Hurts, and it really cost me. So what's your thought on floor versus ceiling for championship games?
I think you have to stick with the floor, just because you don't want to. I mean, like we were just talking about with Tyler Lockett, you don't want to play Tyler Lockett and have him, done out for like 2 points in the game, and you're sitting there with Keenan Allen on your bench for 12 points, and it's just one of those situations where you kind of have to look at the matchup and see what kind of players you're playing against. If they have a lot of upside guys with potential boom or bust situations, I think it's probably better to go the safe route. But if they're going the safe route, maybe you want to be a little different, go the boomer bust route. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's a tough call in this situation. Obviously, you're trying to win. It's a do or die situation here, for first or second. You don't want to finish in second. So, I mean, I think Flores is probably safer.
I think you said something that just sparked something I didn't think about before is, kind of also look at the projections. I know don't live and die by projections on the website you're playing, but I think if you're favored to win the game, not by like 2 or 3 points, but if you're favored by 10, 12, 15 points, that probably would make me go with my floor plays more, because, basically you just don't want to drop the ball, right? You want to kind of hold serve, do what you're supposed to. And unless they have someone that completely goes off, things should probably work out in your favor. Yeah. So that's my first decision. Keenan Allen versus Tyler Lockett. I think that's going to be a game time decision for me. I'm just really hung up on that floor, really safe floor play.
Yeah.
On a low scoring game, probably against a good defense versus Lockett's ability. Lockett has the ability to win the whole game for me, right?
Right.
If he goes nuclear and goes for 130 and 2, which he's done twice this year, probably. I win, right? So that one's tough. Okay, so here's my next one.
You want to take this question in the chat before we?
Dan left a question, right? Thanks, Dan.
Yep. Hey, Dan, what's up? Dan's one of my good buddies. Before we take his question, wish you the best of luck tomorrow, Dan. He is a diehard University of Georgia fan, so he's probably in full-blown nervous mode right now because I know he is really rooting for the Dogs to win the national championship. So good luck tomorrow, Dan. I hope they do win. So he says, after a bunch of lost players, I have Aaron Rodgers at QB. Running backs are Jonathan Taylor, Devontae Freeman, and Nyheim Hines, I guess. Yeah, at running back. Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, and AJ Green at wide receiver. Kittle at tight end. Fortunately, you only have to play one running back, one wide receiver, one tight end. Then it's 2 flex. Okay. So let's get the obvious ones out of the way. Obviously, Taylor and Kupp and Devontae, you have to play, right?
So then we're just looking for one more flex. Yeah. So the flex is between Devontae Freeman, AJ Green.
Yeah, I don't think Nyheim Hines is a.
Yeah, Nyheim Hines is not in the conversation here.
Yeah, I think the question comes down to Devontae Freeman versus
AJ Green.
AJ Green.
Okay, let's think about it. So Devonta Freeman plays at home against the Rams. So Aaron Donald and the Rams, pretty tough matchup there for Devonta Freeman. The last couple of weeks, his workload's been a little bit less than it has been. I'm not super stoked about Devonta Freeman. Let's see here. And then who's our other option? AJ Green?
Yeah, Cardinals are playing at Dallas.
Tough matchup again.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I mean, my general rule is when in doubt, go with the running back. Like if I'm torn between a wide receiver and a running back, I can't make up my mind. I'm almost always going with the running back. Just like we said, the floor for running backs is just better than it is for wide receivers.
Daniel, is this a half PPR, standard PPR? I don't know if you can answer that. But
yeah, man, yeah. I'm probably I'm leaning here towards Devonta Freeman. I think the Ravens have a must-win game. They're not, gonna slam the ball between the tackles. And if they do, that's going to be Latavius Murray. I think they're going to try to get the ball in space to their running backs, and that's going to be Freeman's area with screens and tosses outside the tackles because they're not going to run at Aaron Donald. So
Yeah.
I like Freeman a bit more than AJ Green here.
Yeah, I agree. He says full PPR, so Freeman does get some work out of the backfield, catching the ball. I'm assuming Trayvon Diggs is going to be on AJ Green in this game. So
Can't see him following Kirk in the slot, right?
yeah, so I would have to say that he's going to be on Green in the situation. Yeah, I don't really like the AJ Green matchup, and I mean we've talked about it before. When Hopkins is out, Murray does look too green a little bit more, but something's wrong with the Arizona Cardinals, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's they just falter down the stretch because they did the same thing last year. They they started off the season hot and then they sucked towards the end of the season, but that was more because Kyler Murray was banged up. I don't know if Kyler Murray's banged up right now. He's coming off of an injury, but yeah, I think I'm going to lean more towards the safer floor of Devontae Freeman here than AJ Green.
Yep, same. So good luck to our Ravens. Got my Lamar shirt on, practicing 2 days in a row. Hope he gets out there.
That's not true.
Oh, he didn't practice in the media portion today.
Yeah, he didn't practice in the media portion today. I don't know.
I don't know what he did.
I don't know if he did after that. But hopefully
probably
he's okay.
a Tyler Huntley game.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I kind of hope it's Tyler Huntley. I'd rather have a healthy Tyler Huntley than a banged up Lamar Jackson, to be honest. So, so let me talk through my biggest decision that I got, or two decisions that I got in my biggest money league this week. So I play in a league where it's half PPR, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, a flex, a tight end, QB. So at running backs, I have 4 startable running backs for 3 slots basically here. Running back, 2 running backs and a flex. I got Mixon, Damian Harris, Michael Carter, and I picked up Daryl Williams this week because of the CEH injury. So I'm pretty positive I'm starting Mixon and Harris. Harris has a cupcake matchup against Jacksonville. Mixon's a must start every week. So I'm pretty sure my decision comes down to Michael Carter, who played well last week, going to be in a matchup against the Bucks where they're going to be behind in the game, could be catching a lot of balls out of the backfield. And then I got Daryl Williams, who we've seen this year play well when CEH is out. He was a must start in leagues when Clyde Edwards-Helaire was out at Cincinnati, which is a pretty tough defense. So my decision in that league is Michael Carter versus Daryl Williams at flex. And then I also have a decision at wide receiver 2 between KJ Osborne, who's looking more and more like the wide receiver 2 in Minnesota this week with Thielen being banged up.
He's on IR.
Who, Thielen?
Mm-hmm.
Is that official? I didn't see the news. Okay, so KJ Osborne, and then my other receiver choices here are Michael Gallup against Arizona. I also have Jacoby Myers for the Patriots against Jacksonville, and then I also have Cole Beasley against the Falcons. So what do you think, Chris? Michael Carter versus – let's start off with the first one. Michael Carter versus Daryl Williams. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm going with my gut there, and to me it seems like a really easy decision, but I can see it. I can see someone having a different – I'm going Daryl Williams there all day. Like I don't even think it's really a decision.
You're going with who all day? Sorry.
Daryl Williams.
Okay.
Because when CH was banged up, he was an RB1, dude. I mean, he was like I don't remember the exact – I remember talking about it. He was like RB7 and RB9 or RB6 and RB8 back-to-back weeks. And, they don't have a lot of depth behind him. So it's like Daryl Williams, he doesn't just take CEH's role. He takes CEH's role and his own role that he had, right? Because like Gore, who's behind him, isn't a 12 to 15 touch guy. Like he's just going to spell him from time to time, but he's going to do just that. He's going to come in when Daryl Williams needs a blow. He doesn't have like a role to play. So I love Daryl Williams. I just think he's not like a crazy talented guy. He just gets it done. Like
I love Michael Carter too, though.
Michael Carter is the sexy pick, but I feel like he had a good game last week. He didn't get in the end zone, but I think he had well over 100 yards. Just against Tampa.
Well, first of all, there's no decision on starting either one of these guys over Damian Harris, right?
No. Damian Harris coming off a 3-touchdown game. I think Rodgers is probably out again. So
that's a must start. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Against Jacksonville, that's their defense is not quite as bad as people think it is. But don't get cute there. I mean, he's coming off 3 touchdowns. Okay. But with Carter, I just have to be a little bit more creative to like get there. I see what you're saying. They're going to be down to Tampa. Carter is great out of the backfield. If you tell me Carter had 8 catches for 75 yards and got into the end zone and had, 8 carries for 35, 40 yards, I would say, yep, sounds about right.
Yeah.
But I think you have to be a little bit creative to get there, right? There's a chance that the Bucks just say, we're the Bucks, you're the Jets, you're scoring 10 points, right?
Yeah.
And do you really are you sure Carter's getting that touchdown? I mean, there's very many ways this game goes where the Jets don't score more than 10 or 13 points. I don't know what their implied odds are for them to score, but I guarantee it's not over 17. Yeah. So I don't know. You just have to be, for Carter to get there, you need tons of volume through the air. And I don't know if you just want to bank on that.
I think it's the safer decision is the better offense here, right? In Kansas City.
Yeah. Plus it's the high. I think it's the over under for that game is huge. It's the biggest one of the week. Mm-hmm. Second biggest, Chiefs Bengals over under is 51.
51. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I want pieces of that game.
Okay. So Daryl Williams it is. What do you think about my wide receiver situation?
Okay. So that was with
Osborne.
Beasley's out.
Is he?
No, I mean, like, he's not in my trade space. Like, okay. I don't want him. Yeah.
Okay. Osborne, Gallup, or Jacoby Myers?
Yeah, Jacoby, I don't want him. I don't like that passing attack. Even against Jacksonville, you don't know who it's going to. Could be Bourne, could be Myers, could be Hunter Henry. Okay, so Osborne or Gallup.
You know who's falling off the face of the planet is Amari Cooper. The guy
he had a touch. He had 80 yards and a touchdown last week.
He sucks.
I know. So, okay. My gut tells me Gallup. Okay, so there's 2 things I want you to look at with Osborne. I'm going to go Osborne with an asterisk. I've heard rumors that it's like going to be 0 degrees in Green Bay on Sunday night. Mm-hmm. So look up the weather and make sure it's not going to be like -3 with like snow, because Kirk Cousins is a complete pansy in prime time and cold weather. Yeah. So I don't know that I'd want a whole lot. I think that's going to be Dalvin Cook versus AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones pretty much. In that game in Lambeau. The over-under is really high, but I don't know if they're going to be doing a whole lot through the air.
I like the under in that game, man. I love the under in that game.
Yeah, I think the over-under is like 47, something like that.
Yeah, it's 48. Yeah.
But here's the second thing on Osborne. So the first thing is when Thielen's out, he's came to play every game and he's done good. The second thing is I think Jair Alexander is going to be back this week for Green Bay. And he's going to follow Justin Jefferson if that's the case. So Kirk Cousins is going to avoid Jair and Alexander like the plague. Okay. And Osborne should get at least 7-8 targets. But I think that one for me more so, that's just a side note. That one for me depends on the weather. I'd rather play Gallup in the dome than KJ Osborne in -2 degrees. I don't know the weather though.
Yeah, and it's and Dallas, Arizona is a huge over-under too.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go Gallup. My first gut said Gallup. Let me just peek at this weather, but let me see. Yeah, it's going to be 4 degrees at kickoff.
4 degrees.
But it's not going to snow. It's clear skies and 4 degrees.
Man, Kirk Cousins is so bad sometimes. I know we've been touting him all year, but sometimes he's terrible.
So I'm not a sports bettor, but aren't we sure that Green Bay is going to win that game by like 17 points?
Yeah.
At home, prime time, Kirk Cousins notoriously bad in prime time, especially on the road.
Yeah.
In 4-degree game in Green Bay in national television. I mean, if that has like 30 to 17 written all over it, 33-17. So
yeah,
I think Green Bay is only a 6 or 7 point favorite. Love Green Bay there.
All right. What other decisions you got?
Okay. So my other one in my big league, the same one as Keenan Allen and Lockett, I can only play 2 of these 3 running backs. Okay. Well, my running back 1 is Jonathan Taylor, and you play 2 running backs and 1 flex.
Okay.
Okay. So for my running back 2 and my flex, I need 2 of these 3. Aaron Jones at home versus Minnesota. David Montgomery at home versus Giants. Ronald Jones against the Jets.
Whew. That's tough.
Aren't they all in like the same tier?
Yeah.
I see. Here's my problem with picking. That the reason I gave you 3 and said I need to pick 2 is like I don't even know who the first one is. Like it would be super easy if I could at least eliminate one of them and say, okay, my decision's only between, one of these 2. I can't even pick one.
You said Ronald Jones, Aaron Jones, and who's the other one? David
Montgomery.
Oh man, Ronald Jones and David Montgomery's matchups are so cupcake.
The over-under for Bears Giants isn't the greatest, but David Montgomery is like the epitome of a floor, right? I mean, he's like the safest running back. I mean, he very rarely has huge games, but like there is no way he gets less than like 8 or 9 points, even if it goes all wrong.
Yeah, but can you really get to the championship week and bench Aaron Jones, who you drafted in the first round or the second round?
So here's where I'm leaning is, so first of all, I'm just trying to pick one of the 3 and then say that's my RB2 and then get it down to deciding the other one. I think I'm leaning Aaron Jones as the definite play because of the primetime game, the weather, and Minnesota is not really a tough matchup either. I mean, that's a pretty easy matchup. It's just about as easy as Montgomery's.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to go.
You want something to sweat on Sunday night?
Yeah. My opponent has Nick Chubb on Monday Night Football. So I need something. I don't, even though Aaron Jones hasn't had like the greatest year, I don't think I can get there benching Aaron Jones and making my 2 plays Montgomery and Rojo. So I guess I'm in with Aaron Jones, even though the Dillon split is like really messing with me.
I think if you're going with that route, I think if the decision comes down to Ronald Jones or David Montgomery, I think you got to go Ronald Jones, man.
He had 20 carries last week and 2 catches.
And that was
against Carolina, who has a really tough defense.
Yeah.
And
that was also with Keyshawn Vaughn getting
a fluke touchdown. That's not going to happen again, right?
Yeah.
So Keyshawn Vaughn stole 50 yards and a TD. So Ronald Jones would have got some of that. Man, I don't know. It's just like.
But then it's tough to bench David Montgomery.
If you look at so I think I had kind of talked myself into Ronald Jones until I looked at Montgomery's game logs, and his targets the last 4 weeks are 5, 6, 7, 8 targets. Like, so even if they're down, I just love how he's like, he's game proof, and Ronald Jones is not. I mean, not that I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be losing to the Jets. But Ronald Jones, I think, has the ability, if they were somehow to fall behind, or if he were to fumble in the first quarter and just get removed from that game, Ronald Jones is not game flow proof whatsoever.
You want to hear something crazy? I'm looking at the site that I use for weekly rankings.
Mm-hmm.
They have David Montgomery as RB4 this week. Wow. They have Ronald Jones as RB5 this week. And they have Aaron Jones as RB16 this week.
Gross.
Yeah. Do you follow Jake Seeley at all from the Insider?
Oh, man. I don't really like that guy. I just can't stand to listen to him on the radio, so I don't really look at his website.
Oh, yeah. I use his rankings, and that's what he has as rankings. He has people like Zeke and Gibson and Josh Jacobs all ahead of Aaron Jones, Elijah Mitchell ahead of him, Sony Michel ahead of him. Like, he has all these guys.
Where does he have Dylan?
AJ Dillon he has at 34.
Okay. Weird.
I don't know.
I don't know why he's so down on the Packers this game.
I don't know. Tough decision. Tough decision.
So I'll tell you the site that I follow. Well, I follow two sites. I try not to lean one or the other, but I'll read off from the two sites. I also hate going straight from like a website and saying, "Oh, they have this person higher," so like I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So on Fantasy Pros, which is a pretty popular website, they have David Montgomery 7, Ronald Jones 8, and Aaron Jones 10. So
both of our sites have Aaron Jones 3rd.
The blast. Yeah. So
man, that's a tough bench though.
And it's weird because like he's the one that I want to like put in the most.
Yeah.
So does he have the highest ceiling of the three, or does Ronald Jones? I don't know. It's weird that Ronald Jones probably has the highest ceiling of the three.
I think ceiling wise, Ronald Jones has the highest. I think Aaron Jones, I mean, we've seen it over the last few weeks. Like AJ Dillon is a threat. Like he is somebody that eats into his work a lot. And it's really, it's kind of a 2-man show there. It's kind of a committee there. Like AJ Dillon gets like every other drive almost that he's on the field.
It's the past 2 games. I looked this up just because obviously this is on the top of my head. The past 2 games, it's 32 touches for Aaron Jones and 20 for AJ Dillon. So here's the other website I follow that I actually pay for this other one. BDGE, Big Dogs Gotta Eat. Absolutely love those guys. If you guys out there have never heard of them, really cool YouTube content. So check them out. So they have Jonathan Taylor 1, who's my RB1. Ronald Jones is next, RB5. David Montgomery's RB10. And Aaron Jones is RB14. So on 3 different websites, Aaron Jones is the lowest rated of the 3.
I think you got to bench him.
Oh my God.
That's such a tough bench though. You're gonna be so mad when Ronald Jones goes like 14 for 60 yards.
Yep, when he's 14 for 60, 1 catch for 8, and the Bucks win by 30 points, but he doesn't get in the end zone. And then I'm sitting there, wishing I had the hammer with Aaron Jones.
What time are both the Bears game and the Bucks game at 1:00?
I think so. I think, or maybe the Bears is at 4, but the Bucks is at 1.
No, Bucks and Bears are both at 1, and then the Vikings game's at night. So, yeah, you have to make that. Unfortunately, you have to make that decision before 1:00. You don't have a choice.
Remember the game earlier this year where Aaron Jones had 4 touchdowns? I think that was a primetime game. It was against Detroit.
Yeah.
Was that a primetime game?
Yeah, it was.
Man,
it was Monday night.
There's something about, I don't know if it's just like nostalgia or what, but something about the Packers being at home in the dark on a primetime game, I just always feel like they smash. So
Daniel in the chat says Aaron Jones catches a TD right on the pylon. It feels like every week.
That's the truest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. So true.
Aaron Jones, all of his touchdowns are him like halfway falling out of bounds and reaching the ball and smacking the pylon with it.
Yeah. Okay, well, good luck with that decision. I say you bench Aaron Jones and ride the other two, but
Wow.
that'll be a tough bench. All right, let me
Well,
give you.
producer Mike says a wise man once said, "Don't overthink things. Play with what got you there."
Yeah,
I don't know, man. There's a lot of smart people saying Ronald Jones is like a must start against the Jets, but I will probably hate myself for 9 months if I play Ronald Jones and he gets 7 points and Aaron Jones gets 2 touchdowns in a really good matchup on Sunday Night Football, and I have to sit there and watch that.
yeah. Whereas me, I'm hoping that maybe KJ Osborne, if I play him, gets the touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, that's on the other side of the ball. But yeah. Anyways, all right. Let me talk to you about one other decision that I got to make. I have to decide between. I have Cooper Kupp as my wide receiver 1. As my wide receiver 2, I have to decide between Deontay Johnson and AJ Brown. That's a decision that I have to make. And Deontay Johnson is at home versus Cleveland, and AJ Brown is at home versus Miami. And then this other decision that I have to make on the same team is San Francisco defense against Houston or Philadelphia defense against Washington.
Okay, let's start with the receivers. So I have a question. So you can't play both of them?
I can't play both. I have Cooper Kupp.
You don't have a flex?
No, my flex and running backs are all studs.
Oh, like what's your flex running back?
Damian Harris.
Is it PPR?
Half PPR.
So Damian Harris is your worst running back?
Damian Harris is my worst. This is a 10-team league, so I have Joe Mixon and Dalvin Cook at running back. So I'm playing them both.
Mm-hmm. So Damian, okay.
So then between Damian Harris, Deontay Johnson, and AJ Brown
you can play 2 of them.
Play 2 of them in a half PPR league.
Okay. Let me see here. Okay. I really like AJ Brown this week. I know Miami's defense is like white hot right now. I mean, you can't get hotter than they are. But I don't know that Tennessee has anywhere else to give the ball.
We saw last week, literally every play, every play.
And Deontay Johnson, he primarily, I think that he's going to be shadowed by Denzel Ward. So I'm a huge Ward fan. I mean, I hate when the Ravens play them because I feel like he always makes plays. I don't think Ward will guard Claypool because Ward's a little bit undersized, and I think he matches up better against Deontay Johnson.
I agree.
So don't love the matchup for Deontay, but he's top 3 floor play in the NFL. I mean, he's going to get 8 or 9 targets no matter how the game goes. So, man, I almost think so. I think AJ Brown's the play at wide receiver 2. I'm sold on that.
Okay.
I think you might have a decision to make between Damian Harris and Deontay, but since it's only a half PPR and Harris plays Jacksonville, if Ramadre is definitely out, I think probably roll Harris just because it's safer. It's weird to say that he'd be a safer floor than Deontay Johnson, and I actually don't even know that it's true now that I'm saying it out loud. Yeah, man, that's kind of tough. But I would go AJ Brown as your wide receiver 2, just because we saw what he did last week, and what he had 11 for 145 and a touchdown.
Yeah, I think he had like
55% target share.
Yeah, that's insane.
Good grief. Yeah, so definitely AJ Brown. He's solid floor with the volume he'll get, and he has week winning upside. I would mull over the decision Deontay versus Damian Harris.
And also for the record, I'm favored by on Yahoo, favored by like almost 25 points this week. Dude,
Yeah.
that team is so sick. Like, even if it's a 10-team league, I have Kupp, I have Deontay Johnson, I have Joe Mixon, I have Dalvin Cook. I mean, there's a reason why I'm in the championship.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, let me see. I guess if Ramondre Stevenson's out, Damian Harris, he's fully healthy. I think you got to go Damian Harris. I mean, they're going to ride him pretty hard against Jacksonville. I'd be pretty shocked if he didn't get in the end zone, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Yeah, if you're favored by 25.
They're 15.5-point favorites. They're just going to demolish them.
If Ramondre Stevenson doesn't play, it's definitely Harris. If Ramondre Stevenson is back, then you maybe can consider Deontay and flex.
Okay. And then defense, what do you think?
Oh, it was San Fran or Philly.
Philly.
Dude, I love both of them.
I know, me too.
They're like probably two of my favorite defenses this week.
Davis Mills is so good.
I know, right? I'm gonna go with Philly just because football team looks like a hot mess. And dude, Houston is not the cupcake matchup that they were. They're just not. I mean, they're like kind of good.
Pretty good, yeah.
So I in my big money league, I have San Fran. I picked them up 5 weeks ago for this week. Like I literally, I saw 5 weeks ago, like who plays Houston in the championship week. But then of course, like I've hung on to them this long, and now Houston's like hot. So, but I it's one of those leagues where you have a certain number of moves you can make, and I'm out of moves. So, I planned ahead, and
What do you mean? There's a certain amount of moves you can make?
When after the playoffs start, like week 14 or week 15, you only have 5 transactions.
What? I've never heard of a league like that. That's crazy.
This league is like so involved. It takes so much planning. It like hurts my soul.
Wow, that's insane. Like I've never heard of something like that before.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Crazy.
Like I've heard like you can't make moves if you're not in the playoffs and your team is like locked or whatever. Like you can't like drop players or add players. But if you're involved in the championship, you can't make more than 5 moves. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, the way around it is, to just not make many moves going into the playoffs. But last week we made like 3 moves because we blocked our opponent a couple different ways.
Really?
So we picked up Ronald Jones. We picked up Tyler Huntley to block our opponent because they had Lamar. That ended up not mattering, but it did for a second. And then did one other thing. I forget what, but it's a kind of an interesting league. But yeah, I would go Philly because just football team looks pretty bad. But for the record, I think San Fran is a solid matchup. I think they'll definitely get 7 to 12 points.
Okay. All right. Well, those are all the decisions that I have to make. Do you have any more that you want to talk about before we move on?
Yeah, I have one more. Okay, so for a flex play, I have a choice between 3 players. Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's been absolutely on fire the last 4 weeks. Van Jefferson against the Ravens, who can't cover anyone. And Elijah Mitchell, if he plays, gets a nice matchup against Houston.
And you have to pick one of those?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Elijah Mitchell,
Van Jefferson. My gut says Van Jefferson.
What's Jared Goff's situation?
That's a good question. I would assume he's back this week, but I don't know. Amon-Ra did just as good last week with him out. So
yeah, I know. Jared Goff is
he should be cleared. It said.
Rotor World says he did not practice for the 2nd consecutive day on Thursday.
He's still on COVID list.
No, this is knee.
So Fantasy Pros said Goff should be cleared from the COVID list ahead of the matchup for Seattle.
Yeah, that I know that, but they're saying he has a knee injury. Tim Boyle was made available to media on Wednesday, and this certainly make it appear that we should consider Boyle a real possibility to start this week.
So is Elijah Mitchell the play if he is the running back for the Niners?
Is this PPR? Half PPR?
Full.
Full? No. I'm gonna go with no there
Go with
because
Amon-Ra.
I think okay, so hear me out. I'm pretty positive that even though we're hearing rumors that he's might start this week, but I'm pretty sure Trey Lance is gonna play this week.
Mhm.
And I don't really know what his we don't know too much about him. Like we've seen him for a little bit, but we don't know how much he's going to hurt Elijah Mitchell, how much he's going to help him. Does he check down to running backs out of the backfield? I think it's too much of an unknown, to be completely honest with you. I think I would roll with Amon-Ra there. I like Van Jefferson against Baltimore, but I have a weird feeling about that game this week. I actually like the Ravens. Surprisingly enough, I think it's a weird kind of spot for the Rams, but Amon-Ra's solid, man. Seahawks defense can't stop anybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up real quick what Amon-Ra is the last 4 weeks ranked. I think there's a chance that he's in the top 5. Give me 1 second. He's wide receiver 4 in the past 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
You got to play him.
That's
my choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm with you there. In a full PPR, even, Seattle's not a tough matchup. I think he's just been playing too good. His targets are at, 10, 11 targets every game. It's just a really safe play. And we don't know. Elijah Mitchell hasn't played in 3 weeks. So there's a lot of unknowns there. Don't want to take the chance that, Mitchell dresses, but Jeff Wilson gets the lion's share carries there.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go Amon-Ra there.
Yeah. All right. So let's we're not getting many questions tonight. So Daniel says, time for me to go roll one and watch some film on Michigan. I've enjoyed the show, guys. Enjoy watching your Michigan film.
Yeah. Good luck, Dan.
Yeah.
Georgia Bulldogs have a lot of high-end NFL talent that's going in first and second round of the draft.
Yeah, they're solid, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Should be a fun game to watch tomorrow.
You know how you said you're feeling overwhelmed and checked out on NFL and ready for golf. I'm the same way, dude. The last 2 or 3 weeks, I'm just so NFL'd out that I'm just I'm already looking at college prospects for the draft. I'm pumped to look into the draft.
I think I'd be in a little better mood or a little less tuckered out if the Ravens were actually good. But as we can see that they are not, they're too banged up. They're too decimated at almost every position, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
Even through that, man, I think they might actually sneak into the playoffs. I think it all comes down to the Dolphins. If the Dolphins win either one of their next games against Tennessee or New England, then that's it. I don't think at that point the Ravens have a shot.
It comes down to the Dolphins and the Raiders.
Yeah, but I don't think the Raiders are going to win 2 in a row. I think at best they split, and we have tiebreak over the Raiders. So
no, they beat us.
So no. So let me take that back. We have tiebreak over the Raiders if it's a 3-way tie between the Raiders, Chargers, and the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that tiebreak for some reason. So if that's what it comes down to, let's just say hypothetically Miami loses the next 2 games. Tennessee, New England, 2 tough games. And then the Ravens, Chargers, and Raiders all split the next 2 games. Ravens are in.
Mm-hmm. I think if the Ravens, as long as they beat Pittsburgh, I think they can lose this week coming up and still get in.
But it all comes down to Miami. I think if Miami wins either of the next 2 games, then we're out.
And if we go 2-0, I don't know what the actual odds are, but just my gut says if we go 2-0, we probably have if we go 90% chance to get in.
Yeah, if we go 2-0, if we get to 10 wins, there's no way we're not making the playoffs.
Mathematically, we can still miss, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Let's move on real quick before we wrap up the show. You got any names out there as far as pickups goes that you maybe want to not obviously not stash, but if maybe you're in a pinch that you may want to think about picking up and starting this week?
I'm hearing a lot about people picking up and starting Dare Gumbawale.
Yeah.
Since
Me too.
I don't know that I could do it. I don't know that I could physically play. I'm playing against Dare Gumbawale actually in one of my championship games. My opponent, I wanted to tell that story real quick.
Sure.
We were talking about, kind of strategy. I'm playing this person. I don't even know. Well, they had a lot of injuries at running back. They had like Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Miles Sanders and one more. Who else just got hurt? I don't remember. But they had like 3 running backs that all just got hurt in the past 2 weeks. And so they have no rostered running backs. And I knew that going into the waiver period, and I knew I was going to play them in the finals. So I picked up Jeff Wilson and I picked up Gore from Kansas City. And so now they're starting Dare Agumbawale and someone else who's not very good. So yeah, the strategy is, know your opponent, know what they're strong. And so I have running backs on my bench that I'm not going to play, but I would never cut them, right? Because any running back on my bench, if I cut them, they're just going to pick them up and play them. Right. So it's like, you got to know your opponent. But yeah, I can't get into the Dare thing. I'm just not going to play him. What do you think about him? I mean, they don't have, if James Robinson is out, I don't know James Robinson's status, but if he's the starter, are you in on him?
So I'm pretty sure James Robinson is out. He looked like he tore his Achilles or something like that. So I think
is it confirmed? I haven't seen a follow-up report on him.
Well, he's not playing this week. I'm pretty positive on that. So, well, let me ask you this question: would you rather play Dare Agumbawale or Boston Scott?
I'm personally going to go Boston Scott for the matchup reason.
Yeah.
I just think New England is a really tough matchup for Jacksonville. Boston Scott, you don't know his role. I mean, Jordan Howard's there, Kenneth Gainwell's there. Miles Sanders looks doubtful to play.
Yeah.
So even not knowing Boston Scott's role, even if Boston Scott plays 40% of the snaps, I want his 40% of the snaps over Dare Agumbawale's 70%. Sorry, but I just do.
I agree. The only thing with Boston Scott, though, is man, when they get down to the goal line, it's either Hurts or Jordan Howard, which really makes me upset.
Mm-hmm.
But what about Agumbawale, or I'm just looking at guys like right around him on my rankings list. Rex Burkett.
Rex Burkett was a beast last week.
He was so good last week.
Yeah. Yikes. I'm probably going Rex. It just I don't know.
You hate Dare.
Against New England, like what is there to like? I just don't see it.
There's not much to like. You're right.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna get volume, but okay. So what's Dare's ceiling? 12 carries for 60 yards, and then 5 catches for 50 yards, and a touchdown. That's not happening, right?
Yeah, that's not happening.
But that's like the absolute nuts. Yeah, and that's not happening. So no.
They also I don't know if you saw this or not, but they also activated what's that guy's name? What's that guy's name on the Jaguars that he was
Divine as Zigbo?
No, the other one. He was on the Jaguars, and he was like a hot name pickup because James Robinson got hurt last year. Raquel Armstead. Yeah, they just called him up too. So they're actually rolling like 3 running backs deep in this game. So I don't know. I think you're right. I don't think I could play Dare.
We got some questions in the chat. Let's holler at it.
Questions. Let's go. All right. We have a
Brady.
question.
From Mike.
Well, we got a lot of questions. Okay, hold on. Let's go to the first one. Brady versus the Jets or Allen versus Atlanta?
I think I know mine. I'm going Josh Allen. Atlanta's been pretty bad. Buffalo doesn't really have a running game to lean on. I just like that a higher percentage of their touchdowns are going to come at the hands or feet of Josh Allen. And I think Buffalo is going to put up a lot of points. Tom Brady's also going to have a fine game. I mean, they're both top 5 options, probably both top 3 options. Really splitting hairs here, but I think Tampa Bay has more of the ability to be up by 20 points and just feed Ronald Jones. Even if Buffalo's up, they don't have a running back that is going to have 25 carries, but Tampa Bay does.
Yeah, I agree there. And then his next question is Diggs versus Atlanta or Adams versus Minnesota. I don't
can't play both.
I don't think you can ever bench Devontae Adams. So if that's a choice, an actual choice, then Devontae Adams.
Agree. But I mean, if you're playing in a league where you can't get Stephon Diggs versus Atlanta in your lineup, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yikes. They're both great options, but you can't bench Devontae Adams ever.
All right. I don't know if this guy's trolling us, but he's just asking between Kittle and Mark Andrews.
I mean, this must be a 4-person league.
Yeah. I mean, you have Kittle and Mark Andrews.
It's the top 2 options at tight end this week, by far, I think. I don't know. Mark Andrews is red hot. I don't think you can bench Mark Andrews right now.
Yeah, I'm a little scared of Kittle's production with Trey Lance at quarterback. So I would go Andrews in that situation. Super flex, he says Ryan Tannehill versus Big Ben. I would definitely go Ryan Tannehill there. Big Ben is garbage.
Yep, agree. Tannehill's not been impressive, but AJ Brown healthy. Tough matchup versus Miami, but I'm gonna roll Tannehill. Big Ben has no arm.
Yep. All right. I'm going to skip the troll question from Anardeb. Get out of here with that crap.
There's one more from Mike. Devin Singletary versus Atlanta. Or Montgomery versus the Giants. I'm going to go Montgomery there pretty easily.
Yeah, I would go Montgomery for sure.
Singletary's I don't think Singletary's in a bad spot though. I think for those watching that are playing him, I think he's a decent play.
Yeah, definitely. He's getting all the carries out of the backfield. So I wouldn't start him over Montgomery, but I definitely would try to start him if you need him at flex. Pick 2 to start.
Hunt. Yeah, Kareem Hunt playable this week. This is that's a good question. I had to make this decision in another league. I didn't even bring up the question just because I kind of had already made up my mind. I just decided I'm not going to play Kareem Hunt this week. I have a area where I could play him, but I'm just going to avoid that. Kareem Hunt's had a complete dud of a year. I don't think he's had a serviceable game since like week 5 or 6. So you're just really reaching if you're playing Kareem Hunt at this point, even though the matchup's outstanding against Pittsburgh. They can't stop anyone on the ground right now. I just can't in a championship game. There's too many unknowns there. I think you're just playing the name. I mean, he hasn't produced at all.
Yep, I agree. Hey, Antonio, long time no see. He says, haven't been able to watch many videos lately. Glad you guys are still crushing it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
What up, dude? Thanks for coming back.
Then Anardeb asked, pick 2 of 3, Amon-Ra, Rashad Penny, Brandon Ayuk.
I don't know. I'm really into Amon-Ra this week. As we just talked about,
Definitely Amon-Ra for sure. I think
Amon-Ra is the wide receiver 4 over the last 4 weeks. So I think Amon-Ra is a slam dunk play. Brandon Ayuk's having a pretty sneaky, strong second half of the year. I like Ayuk. And what was the other one, Rick?
Rashad Penny.
I'm not a Rashad Penny fan, but he is getting Detroit. Nah, man, I'm going with the 2 receivers.
Okay. I'm going with St. Brown and Penny in that situation just because, I don't know, man. Trey Lance is such an unknown commodity. I keep coming back to that. I'm not a fan of him right now.
Okay. You know what? I'll agree with you. Penny had a really good game last week. And I'm with you on the Trey Lance thing. We want as little amount of unknowns in our championship game as possible. So let's steer clear of Trey Lance situation. We don't know who he's going to like. So let's ride the hot hand with Penny and St. Brown.
Oh, Mike was asking, not everyone has leagues, just DK cash lineups. Oh, if that's the case, then yeah. I mean, I play DK every week, so I mean, for cash lineups, definitely, like we said, Adams. I prefer Allen over Brady. I prefer Andrews over Kittle. I don't know. Cash lineups, just play your studs and find the values at lower prices. Let's see. He said, Dan said, rookies love the TE safety blanket, though. That is true. They do love the tight end safety blanket.
I don't know, man. Trey Lance, he's interesting. His mechanics are like absolute garbage. He's really painful to watch. I'm not sure. He's a bit more of a project than I think Shanahan was hoping for. I know he's raw, but man, he doesn't look ready for the NFL yet. I'm probably staying away from as many San Fran pass catchers as I can.
Would you rather have John Harbaugh as coach or Brian Flores?
Man.
Well, you know the answer to my answer to that question.
I love Brian Flores, and he's like stud. Everyone better than Harbaugh.
Yeah. Brian Flores is a stud, man. He's a good coach.
Yeah. I mean,
I just want to know what John Harbaugh has done. Like, what has he done since the Super Bowl? He hasn't done anything, man.
I mean, we could have a whole show on
John Harbaugh.
To Harbaugh or not to Harbaugh. You know my take on him. John Harbaugh is not an X's and O's coach, right? He's a in front of the camera, don't say anything stupid, law and order, keep everyone in check, hold everyone accountable type of coach. Like, he's not a dial up the game winning, play. It's just not him. So I don't know. It depends what you want from your coach. So let's see. Mike has another question. Dak versus Arizona or Herbert versus Denver? I'm going, man, Dak's been pretty bad, but...
Pretty bad? What are you talking about?
He's not had a good year.
He had like 4 touchdowns last week.
Okay, last week, but I'm saying on the year.
Yeah, I mean, I
Dak
don't know
Prescott's
if you can...
QB 10. Herbert's QB 2. I'm going, I guess this guy's still talking about DraftKings.
Yeah.
I think Herbert's probably a decent play if you're playing GPPs because he's not going to be highly owned going against Denver. Should be able to get pretty low ownership on Herbert. But that Dak versus Arizona, that's going to be a pretty high owned game across the board. So if you're playing cash, probably Dak. If you're playing tournaments, Herbert.
Yep. Oh, we got a question here from Lucius. What's up, Lucius? If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. He says, what's a good defense this week, guys? Colts, San Fran, or New Orleans? Appreciate the help in advance. I like New Orleans, but they have 20 players in COVID protocol. Okay. So, who are the Colts playing this week?
Las Vegas.
Okay.
Colts have been a good D.
Yeah, they have. What do you think?
This is tough, man. So we talked a little bit earlier on the show about San Fran, how at home versus Houston, it screams cupcake matchup. But oddly enough, Davis Mills has been playing good. Houston has been pretty good. So, I probably like that one the least. I never thought I would say that, but I probably like San Fran against Houston the least out of the three.
Yeah.
New Orleans, like it a lot. Carolina is an
terrible.
absolute dumpster fire, and that game comes with an over-under of 38 points. That game is just going to be don't watch that game. I would say if you bet it or have players playing in it, just don't watch. That game's going to be hideous to watch. So I like the Saints a good bit playing against Carolina. I believe Sam Darnold's been named the starter.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really care who starts. I don't think the Panthers are putting up a bunch of points. I think they will turn the ball over. So I'm going with Saints out of the three, but like the Colts a good bit. They're at home. They've been really solid lately. And Las Vegas, their offense hasn't been quite as good as it was at the beginning of the year. So I like the Colts too. Who do you like?
I agree. I'm going to power rank it Saints, San Fran, and then the Colts for me. I wouldn't worry too much, Lucius, about the COVID stuff right now. Obviously, they're clearing quickly now. It's 5 days now to be in protocol. So obviously pay attention to that. If they have their entire, defense out, then yeah, don't play them. But most of these guys are going to be ready to play on Sunday. So I would definitely go with the Saints in that situation, just because Carolina is so putrid at offense. Let's see. Mike says Bills versus Atlanta is supposed to be a blizzard game. Okay, let me make a quick comment about this. Snow doesn't mean anything when it comes to offensive production. If anything, it hinders the defense more than the offense. We just saw it last week in the Seahawks and Bears game. That game was basically a shootout in the snow. So don't not play offensive players in fantasy because of snow. If it's a high windy, wind matters way more. So if it's snow, feel comfortable playing your wide receivers, your running backs, all that stuff. But if it's a high wind game,
the word blizzard, I think, is snow plus wind, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be windy or not, but yeah, Rick's right. Snow actually leads to like long touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah. Yes, Debo, Jamar Chase, or Deontay Johnson. Pick one for a cash lineup. They're all around the same price.
I'm going to go not Debo because we're trying to steer clear because of Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
Deontay Johnson might have Denzel Ward shadowing him. Jamar Chase plays in a huge over-under game against Kansas City. I think he's a pretty safe pick. So I like Jamar Chase of those three.
Yeah, I agree. Jamar Chase has been a stud all year. It's going to be a really high-scoring shootout kind of game. In that game. So in that environment, I definitely like Jamar. Chris says Cam 3 picks. Yeah, Cam's not playing this week. It's Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Probably Sam also 3 picks guaranteed. Sam or Cam, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Any Stone Cold against the spread locks this week? Let me see if I can give you one that you're not already playing. You know what? I'm going to give you a Stone Cold lock, Anardeb. I know it's square, and I know it's a weird line, but I'm going to go with Philly minus 3.5 over Washington. I think in every facet of the game, Philly at this moment is way better than Washington. offense, defense, special teams. They're just better than them. This line doesn't make sense. It should be Philly -7, -6.5, something like that. But for some reason, they have it down at 3.5. We're hearing rumors of the Washington football team are going to play both Heineke and Kyle Allen in this game. I don't really understand what they're doing in this situation, but they're a dumpster fire. We said it earlier in the show. I love Philly this week. They've been playing not the greatest first half of footballs, but second half they've been dominating games. So they have a really, really good defense. Their defense has been lights out the last 8 weeks of the season. So I love Philly -3.5 at Washington.
Yeah. Mine, I talked a little bit about it earlier. I'm not a big sports bettor, but love Green Bay at home in the 4-degree weather against Kirk Cousins, who will have poop in his pants during that game. So I like Green Bay -6.5 at home against Minnesota. Rick, I'm also interested. You said another game you liked is Seattle -7 against Detroit.
Yep.
Kind of like Detroit in that game.
Detroit's. I know you like that. I know you would like Detroit in that game. That's just my theory on Russell Wilson.
You have a narrative you're chasing in that one.
Yeah,
you're
Russell
chasing
Wilson's gonna light it up in that. Yeah,
Detroit's just been playing so tough.
They've been playing so tough. They play every game close. I bet against them last week. I bet the Falcons last week, and thinking that they were going to crush Detroit, but Detroit covered that spread. And yeah, it's a tough number to cover for Seattle, but I like Seattle this week.
Yeah, there was a couple questions, or a question and a comment in the chat about are we doing a keeper show in the off season? Pretty sure we will. We want to do at least 1 or 2 shows in the off season on dynasty leagues and keeper leagues and stuff like that. I'd say we'll probably do 2 shows on that, and then we'll also do another show or 2
a draft
about the NFL draft.
Yeah, NFL draft prep. Yep.
Yeah, we'll do one about NFL draft, just solely about the draft itself, and then we'll do another one about dynasty rookie drafts and rookies coming into the NFL. So I'd say we'll probably do 4 or 5 off-season shows about keepers and draft and strategy and stuff like that.
Yep. Mike had another question here: Aaron Jones versus Minnesota or Zeke versus Arizona? I think in this situation, I don't know, Chris. What do you think?
My brain won't let me not be addicted to Green Bay this week, so I'm gonna go Aaron Jones.
All right, yeah, I'll go with Aaron Jones also.
I just haven't been a Zeke guy this year. I don't know if that's fair or not, but I'm just I think Aaron Jones has the higher ceiling. For some reason I just see him scoring at least 1, maybe 2 touchdowns in this game. So I don't know. I don't know if it's fair, but I'm off Zeke this year. I just can't get on him.
Yep, Aaron Jones for me too. Buffalo will have winds of 10 to 15 miles per hour. Josh can handle that easily. Yeah, I agree. If it's 10 to 15 miles per hour, don't be scared to start Bills players.
Antardeb said, let us get a preview of the draft. Who's your dream first round pick for the Ravens?
I don't even know the answer to that question. I can tell you
what position.
It's not sexy, but I would love a beast offensive lineman.
Yep. I was just going to say, I don't care what the name is, but I want a right tackle in the first round.
Yeah.
Either the best guard in the draft or the second best guard in the draft or the best right tackle in the draft. I'm assuming we're going to pick somewhere around, pick 15. 16 to 22.
Yeah.
So give me one of the top 4 or 5 offensive linemen in the draft, and I'll be happy with that.
Yep, I agree. I would also like to at some point address linebacker, maybe pass rusher. I don't know. I mean, we're getting defensive line. Let me just put it that way. Like we're getting a little old at that position with Calais and Brandon Williams. And then I don't know. We have holes everywhere, man.
A lot of holes.
A lot of holes. Yeah, it's tough. And I mean, people even say that our secondary is so great, but you can never have enough DBs. And I wouldn't even mind if they drafted a couple DBs in the next draft.
I don't even think we're that loaded in the secondary, to be honest. I mean, we were coming into the year, but Jimmy Smith's a year older. I mean, I think he could possibly retire. Maybe has one more year in him. Yeah, I think cornerback's definitely in play. I don't know about the first round, but we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if we just do best player available between a secondary player or offensive lineman or a defensive end. We don't need to draft a receiver this year. The Ravens are like sneakily loaded at receiver for the next 2 to 3 years.
You say that, but
come on, man. Did you Rashad Bateman is going to be the man.
I hope so. I hope you're right.
And I don't think we'll re-sign Hollywood, but we have him through next year, at least maybe 2 more years.
Yeah,
if we pick up his 5th year option, we have him for 2 more years. So yeah, for the next 2 years, we have Bateman, Hollywood, Andrews, Devin Duvernay, who just made the Pro Bowl, and James Prochet, who I think is going to get a look every now and then, and Tylan Wallace, who was a 4th round pick this past year, who just didn't get any playing time because, like I said, we're like low key loaded at receiver. So,
we just need a better offensive coordinator. That's all.
And a line that's it would be nice to have the top 3 left tackle in the league healthy and actually playing. So yeah, if Ronnie Stanley's healthy and Villanueva plays his proper position of right tackle, and yeah, just too many injuries, man. This year is like a trash can year for the Ravens. Sucks to say, but you can't compete with 20 players on IR.
Yep. All right. He said, "Well, what the f?" Devin Duvernay made the Pro Bowl. Yes, as a
he's the best return man in the league, stats wise.
Yeah, he made special teams.
And I don't know. Look back at the video of when the Ravens drafted Devin Duvernay. John Harbaugh had a conniption. He was so happy. But there's a special teams coach for you.
Yep.
Duvernay's. I mean, how many times? I'm a big Twitter person, so I always follow this kind of stuff. How many? And Rick, you might have seen it too. So many Ravens fans said we need to use Devin Duvernay like San Francisco uses Deebo Samuel. I mean, they're like the exact same build of a player. Yeah. So maybe there's something to be said there. I just swear it's like I always say it. Like whenever Devin Duvernay touches the ball, it's always an exciting play. I mean, he might not always break like a 20-yard, but he always gets it done, man. I mean, I just love when he has the ball in his hands.
Yep. Do you guys have any more fantasy relevant questions out there before we wrap up the show? We'll go for a couple more minutes and then wrap it up.
Let's talk about a few people we haven't. I'm gonna just roll through position by position real quick, and just players we haven't mentioned yet. We'll do like a this or that. I want to just see your opinion on a couple people.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Damian Harris or Josh Jacobs?
Damian Harris.
I think I agree there. Although I'd like to point out Josh Jacobs was so amazing last week.
He's been really good the last few weeks.
He's unreal. I mean, like he's so talented. I don't know why he was so much more involved in the pass game this year, and I don't know. I just like him a lot. Like I think he's a nice dynasty buy right now. He's just pretty underrated in my opinion. Let me see. Let's say, okay, Michael Carter or Saquon Barkley.
Oh, that's easy for me. Saquon Barkley is so bad, man. Michael Carter.
How far have we fallen here? Like Saquon Barkley's like barely startable.
Yeah, he's barely startable.
Crazy, right? Hey, producer Mike, I'm talking at you real quick. I saw a tweet today. It said Saquon Barkley to the Bills. Who says no? And that hit me right. Can you imagine if they made a move and brought in Barkley or someone similar and had
I think the guy that they should go after is Tony Pollard.
smaller back? I for some reason, and yeah, I don't know if Dallas will give him up, but Rick, you and I both agree that Tony Pollard needs to be a starting running back.
He definitely needs to be a starting running back. Let me. What about this? What is your choice between Sony Michel and Daryl Williams this week?
Ooh,
that's a tough one.
Is Daryl Henderson out?
Mm-hmm. He's
out. Okay.
Out.
Cam Akers is back, but I think
Cam Akers he cannot be fantasy relevant this week.
I know, and I was actually hoping someone would come in the chat and ask a question because my answer was just going to be no.
No, yeah. Cam Akers, no, do not start.
I feel so. I guarantee Cam Akers is going to be played in some fantasy matchups just because of the name. He's practicing. He's going to be active, but I think so. I've heard rumors that they're just doing it to get him his roster bonus.
Oh, okay, maybe.
Like I think he's going to dress just so he gets paid like whatever his $1 million for being an active member of the team. So, I think they like him and they want him to, not be totally screwed. But the practice videos of him, he's like a full go. I mean,
that's crazy, man. When was
his injury? July.
When did Achilles injuries become 5 months instead of a year? Like, I don't understand that.
Achilles injuries were like a year if you were lucky. They were like a 12 to 14 month injury.
That even happened on the Ravens. Remember when Suggs? Remember when Suggs did that and he was back?
He was back in like 9 or 10 months, right?
Yeah.
But this is just, I mean, July to now is what? 6 months. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. So the answer to all Cam Akers questions is no. But man, you got me with the Sony Michel thing because I'm not a Sony Michel guy. And you said him or Daryl Williams. I'm going Daryl Williams. I'm sorry, Sony. You looked good last week. You've looked good for a couple weeks in a row. Daryl Henderson's out, so Sony Michel is probably going to get 20 touches. Baltimore's pretty good against the run. I just have a weird feeling. I love Daryl Williams when Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out. I can count probably on 6 or 7 fingers how many players I would start over Daryl Williams this week. I like him a lot. So I'm personally going Daryl Williams.
Okay. Do you have any other questions? Any other start questions?
Let's here's a player I have in 2 championship leagues. I have him in just because I don't really have any other good options, but I'm just positive he's going to get like 5 points and I just don't know what to do about it. DJ Moore with Sam Darnold at quarterback playing against New Orleans, who's just been really good on defense. There's just I can't get there on DJ Moore this week. I mean, the over-under is like 37 in that game against a really good defense and awful quarterback play. I feel like I'm starting him because I feel like I have to because of the name, but I just don't see him getting there. So, like, I'm trying to think. Like, DJ Moore or...
Let me see who we got around DJ Moore on my rankings list here.
So, like, DJ Moore or Van Jefferson against the Ravens. Probably still DJ Moore, right?
I would say Van Jefferson in that situation.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how far he's fallen. I mean, right now my rankings site has DJ Moore as wide receiver 33 on the week.
Damn.
That's terrible. These are some names that are ahead of him. We have Brashad Perryman ahead of him. We have
Oh,
Darnell
come on.
Mooney.
Is this Jake Seeley's list?
Yeah.
That guy's a clown, dude.
Darnell Mooney, KJ Osborne. Like these names are all ahead of DJ Moore.
Okay. I'm going to go on the record and say if you start Brashad Perriman instead of DJ Moore, you're an idiot.
Why? It's such a cupcake matchup against the Jets.
Okay, Godwin's out. Is Evans out too?
Yeah.
Okay, really?
Yeah, I don't know, actually.
I mean, I don't even if Evans is out and Antonio Brown's out, which I don't think he is. I'm pretty sure Antonio.
Here's a good question. Would you go DJ Moore or Rashad Bateman?
I think Bateman might match up against Ramsey because Hollywood isn't really the type of receiver that Ramsey would guard, right? Ramsey
doesn't Ramsey just guard your best pass receiving option?
Well, Ramsey likes to guard the bigger guys, so he might actually take Andrews.
That's what I was going to say. Like, isn't he on Mark Andrews?
Yeah, he's not gonna. So what I'm getting at is Hollywood is not going to be on Ramsey. I think Ramsey's going to either take Andrews, or if they feel Andrews is too big for him, then he's going to guard Bateman. I don't think he's going to guard Hollywood. So I would do DJ Moore, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, like DJ Moore and Terry McLaurin are like two of my really high owned receivers, and they both just suck now.
It's bad quarterback play, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I know. I kind of went all in, like in my dynasty leagues, adding Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson in the second half of the year this year, because I am just like, I'm all in on the fact that the football team and Ron Rivera, they're not gonna like mess around with quarterback anymore. I think they're just gonna go all in on someone. That's my theory. Ron Rivera is older now. You know, they have nice pieces. I don't think they're gonna project quarterback or assign like a journeyman like a Marcus Mariota. I think they're gonna go the Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson route.
I agree. I think this is the time, especially when they have really nice weapons on the team. Yeah, when they have nice weapons and they have a pretty good defense on that side of the ball, they need to stabilize that position and make a move. I think Russ would be a good fit there.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
cool. Well, I think producer needs to wrap up. So, any last minute questions in the chat?
Nope.
But Rick, I just got to tell you the story real quick while we're waiting for any last minute questions that anyone has. So, in my big money league that probably, cost as much as all my other leagues put together. So I am up, I was way behind all Sunday, and then I go into Sunday night. Was it Sunday Night Football? No, just the afternoon games. I had David Montgomery and Chiefs D, and I was down like down 25 points or something like that.
Yeah.
David Montgomery had a good game. He got 20 points. Chiefs D got 14 points. So I thought it was pretty much over. I was like, man, I need a really good game for Montgomery and the defense to even have a remote shot, because they had Kamara on the comeback Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Montgomery does good. Chiefs D scores 14, which is pretty good. So I'm up by 8.4 points going into Monday Night Football when they have Kamara. And this league is so top heavy on the pay that like if you don't make the championship game, you pretty much get nothing. So I'm like driving to my family's house in West Virginia, listening to this game on the radio, absolutely like losing my mind, like at every time Kamara touches the ball. Well, anyway, he gets to like 7 points, 7.1 or something like that. And it's like the second to last drive of the game, and the Saints are way down. And I'm just like screaming at the TV, like Kamara shouldn't even be in the game at this point. They're down 20 points, 17 points or whatever. Well, I don't know if you watched the whole game. Probably not, because it was like
I didn't watch the second half. Yeah.
Dude, like, so it's like 2 minutes left. The game's completely out of hand. It's like a 17-point game. Kamara like goes to pass block, and mind you, I'm only up 1 point. I'm up 1 point, and it's a half PPR league. Kamara like goes to pass block and goes down on this guy and like completely whiffs the block, and the guy like jumps over him, and then he just stands up, and the whole pass rush has passed him, and he's literally standing, and there's no one within 15 yards of anywhere around him, and then they throw him the ball, and if he would have caught the ball, it was like a guaranteed 15-yard gain, maybe even more, and he literally turned around before he caught it and dropped it. And because of that play, I went to the championship and I have a chance to win a lot of money. If he would have caught that ball, I would have lost. So everyone talks about fantasy football. It's skill. It's not. It all comes down to luck.
Yeah. We have one question in the chat before we wrap it up. Hi, Just Moss. How are you doing? If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. We'll be kicking off golf season next week with me and Tony. We'll do some off-season football stuff. He says Keenan Allen or Allen Lazard. I mean, I understand that Lazard had a good game last week, and I understand that the Packers are a high-powered offense, and he could definitely blow up on you, but I think you got to take the safety with Keenan Allen here.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy one for me. Keenan Allen, even though he has a tough matchup, going Keenan pretty comfortably here. Remember that Lazard probably won't be in the exact same role that he's had last week and the week before. Marquez Valdes-Scantling is expected to come back from the COVID list and play this week. So you got to knock Lazard down a few spots, and MVS, who's been playing pretty good lately, is back on the field. So I'm going to go Keenan Allen pretty comfortably here.
All righty. I think that's going to wrap up our show. Mike has to get going. Guys, thanks for tuning in all season. All the questions this season, we really, really appreciate it. We went through 17 weeks of this, me and Chris talking back and forth about fantasy football. I wish you guys all the best of luck in the championships this week. I hope I win all 4 of my championship matches. Chris, I hope you win all 3 of yours. Let's take the ships home. Let's get the trophies home. Like we said, we will do some off-season shows. Follow us on Twitter. We will tweet these out when we decide to do them. Once again, me and Tony are going to be back doing the golf show weekly. We are going to do a season preview show. We're going to record that sometime this weekend and have that out before the Tournament of Champions next week. And then we're going to go back to our weekly show next week. Big things ahead for golf. Absolutely love it. Golf season's back. But yeah, enjoy the last couple weeks of the NFL season. We're not going to be doing a week 18 show. And then
maybe we'll do an NFL playoff preview.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Not fantasy sports, but we'll just talk football.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk some spreads or something.
We'll get Mike on here too.
We'll talk about that. So if we do one of those shows, like I said, we'll tweet it out. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the questions. Good luck this week.
Thanks, guys. See you.